What's up, y'all? I'm Alvin Garrett, and I'm hanging with Gallo, the guy you know.
What's up? It's Nick Gallo, the guy you know. I'm here with the amazing and talented Alvin Garrett. How are you, bro?
I am wonderful, wonderful. So happy to be here with you today.
Yes. Well, first I want to ask you, before we even break everything down, how are you doing? Just how are you doing? Because I feel like a lot of people don't ask, just how are you doing in your life? Because
I like that question.
Yeah.
How am I as a person?
Yes.
I am doing well, man. I am in a really good place. And if I had answered that years ago, I would have sold you something. But now I don't sell it. I just tell it. I'm in a good, healthy place. I love my voice. I love myself. I give myself a chance to rest. I don't feel burdened by my dream. I feel enlightened and happy about what I'm chasing. And that has not always been true.
Yeah.
So I'm in a great place, to be honest with you.
Okay. I love that. I love that because, people don't check on, I feel like ever since COVID, it's different. With people checking on people. Like they do, but they don't. It's weird.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But it's a big time for you.
Yes.
New single.
Yes.
How does it first, were you nervous? Because I feel like this year, especially for everyone, I feel like everyone in the entertainment especially, it's the year really we got kind of lived normal. We got back to somewhat normal life. We don't have to worry about the whole COVID restrictions, and actually people could perform.
Right.
You could get out there and reach the people and not do virtual interviews and virtual performances.
Right.
So how has that whole process been for you, just setting it all up for now?
Well, for me, I actually ramped up during the pandemic. To be honest, like I put more resources into the downtime, the industry. I was like, hey, since nobody's out there, let me see if I can get the attention that maybe I wouldn't have gotten with everything slowing down. So, man, I was doing live stream concerts with full-blown production, and I was pushing forward. I recorded 2 albums during the pandemic. And so I went very aggressively, and actually last year decided to kind of relax a little bit and get refreshed, which is something that I think a lot of people had a chance in some ways to do during the pandemic to see what's next for me. Right. And so now this latest single, Till I Get Back to You, is sort of me in my own space, not based on the pandemic, but me saying, here's what's next from me. I'm back at it. This is the fresh sound, the new inspiration for Alvin Garrett. Take a listen.
Yeah. I want to ask you, how was this process of, choosing that as the single? Like when you wrote it and produced it, did you have in mind, like, this is going to be the first single? Because I know some artists, it all depends kind of. Sometimes you have a full, discography of everything. You kind of choose from it, or you sometimes, you're like, yo, that's the, the first single for the project.
That's a great question. Actually, I finished the whole entire album with no idea of what the single would be. The album is called SFTY, which is an acronym for Songs for the Yard, which says safety. We'll get more into it. Safety.
Yes.
And had no clue once we finished the album what would be the single. But there's a big story behind the body of work. But I said, I don't want to lead trying to tell the story. I want to lead with a song that's going to make you, just groove. It's going to reach out and grab you. And this song, Till I Get Back to You, no story involved, no backstory. You don't need to hear it. You just hear the song and it grabs you and like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
So I said, let's lead with the music first and then draw them into the inspiration behind the songs and the full body of work.
Okay. And one thing I do love, I love the visual video on YouTube you did.
Yeah.
Super dope. Like, I feel like that's needed more. I feel like we don't have physical copies where we could see lyrics sometimes.
Right.
And I was always used to growing up like, yo, give me the book. Where's the booklet? I need to practice this. I need to bend up the pages and practice this nonstop to know the words.
Yeah.
But I love that you did that. So is that important to you always, just to have that out for fans and the public to see?
It is. And I try to write my songs where you don't need to read the lyrics. I'm very big when I'm recording to make sure, can you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? But adding that visual to where you can see it and hear it clearly, to where you don't walk away with any questions about any words. So yeah, I truly value that part of the videography and the lyric videos.
Yeah, I love that you did that. But like you were saying, back to the new project though.
Yeah.
What's the anticipation?
Mm-hmm.
How was the process too? Like, was it different from other projects? Did you do something different that stood out to you or that you recognized after?
Yeah, this album really came from an inspiration I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
So in my activism world and philanthropy, if you can call it that, I work with people who've been impacted by the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of service in that world. And just talking to people, hearing their stories, and then discovering the impact of my music on their lives,
Yep.
it inspired me to just hear a project from a whole different perspective that I wasn't expecting, which was the mental health perspective, the struggle, the emotional struggle that we have, and as humans, to say, I got so much bottled up, but can I pour it out instead of popping off?
That's important.
That's important. But there's a song about it. Or if I could go back in the time machine and address the trauma that's impacting my life now, maybe I can change my destiny. Those aren't typical song concepts you think of, but that's what I was inspired to write about on this project. And so when people hear it, they'll hear themselves and they'll see themselves maybe from a perspective you don't expect from modern day R&B music.
Very true. Very true. Because today, and that's the thing I love that you have still the true R&B, because
yes,
R&B, it's different.
It is.
Not saying all of it.
Right.
Certain aspects of it is different, where how I grew up, 90s, early 2000s, it was,
different kind of soul.
Yeah, it was that real R&B, like I always say. And you are still bringing that today.
Absolutely.
So, like, is that, like, when you listen to R&B from before and now, do you ever think, like, I kind of want to tap in the new kind of wave, or, like, are you inspired by it? Because I feel there's certain artists where I'm like, okay, I like what they're doing. Then certain I'm like, questionable, but it's for the youngins. I get it.
I'll be honest with you. I listened to nobody but myself and my production partner. I literally didn't listen to the radio. Couldn't tell you what anybody else was doing. I didn't want to be influenced. And to me, that's what makes my music special, is not influenced by trying to sound like anybody else, not trying to fit a mold of this is what people want to hear. No, this is the story I want to tell. Here's how I want it to sound. If you're interested, listen. If you're not, don't. And that takes courage. But that's what soul and R&B has always been about.
Yeah,
it's courage, right? Courage to say I'm black and I'm proud. Courage to say, you know what I'm saying? The things that were being said when in that era of R&B. So it's easy to play it safe and just sing about some of the things are going to trigger people to say, "Oh, that's my jam." And I don't knock it. Yeah, because that's music. But for me, I am a soulful person every day. That's me. So why would I sell something that's different than who I am? I just so happen to have that music that makes you think, that makes you feel. And it does appeal even to audiences you won't think it appealed to. Young people like to hear soulful music. They're just not exposed to it as much.
I was just going to say that's
just not exposed to it enough.
Exactly. And one thing I love that you are, because I feel that's another thing. You're singer, songwriter, producer, everything, arrange songs and more. But from just the singer, songwriter, and producer, I want to ask you, which is the easiest to do for you, would you say, out of the three?
You said from a songwriter,
singer, and producer.
Okay. Depends on when you're at. I'll say I'm most experienced.
Okay.
As a songwriter.
Okay.
And, kind of a producer. And they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. The
type of songwriting that I do, because I'm producing and writing at the same time. Singing and being an artist is actually fairly new to me. I started in 2010, actually believing in myself enough to do it and come from behind, the pen and behind the mic and behind the board to be out front, and even behind an instrument to be out front. So that has been my most recent evolution that has become easier over time, because I've actually started to love myself as an artist and not compare myself to the people I've written for, which is tough when you're just getting started because you're writing for some amazing people and you're thinking, well, do I measure up to them? I'm finally at a place as an artist where I don't have to. I'm measuring up to my best. And so to answer your question, songwriting comes very naturally to me because I've been doing it the longest, but being an artist and a vocalist is becoming equally as natural.
Okay. I like that. And I do like that you said, like, it's, people think becoming a songwriter too, a singer is like easy. And I feel like it's
not.
Because you're not boxed in, but you're just so used to, you know, a way of doing things, then, you know, you're at the forefront then. I give you credit because it's a beast.
and you're crafting songs for other people. And so you have to find, well, who am I?
Yeah.
What's my voice? What is my style? But I've been writing for so many people so that you can hear some authenticity when they're performing. But what about mine?
Yeah.
And so that's a different part of that experience.
Definitely. Yeah. And I know, you know, you're in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Becoming a Man program.
Yes.
Bam. How important is to you, like you were saying, I know earlier, but being involved in a community and just meeting people and being out there, because I feel it's really the way to, it's just good for, I think, regardless of what you do, just to get involved some way, somehow. So how important is it to you?
It's important enough for me to come all the way from Birmingham, Alabama to Chicago to share what I've been doing at home successfully through an organization called the Dannon Project that helps at-risk and at-risk youth and those that have been impacted by the justice system, and finding a partner in another city like BAM with youth guidance. We said, let's go share what we've seen work so successfully with using music, therapy, songwriting to help young people open up, deal with their anger, deal with conflict resolution. And they're doing that already. And so we're reaching out, building those partnerships, but also making great music in the process. And one of my goals is for young people to not just see music as entertainment, but as so influential to the culture you live, to your everyday life, because they don't realize it sometimes that, no, that's just entertainment, but you're saying and doing what you're hearing in the music. Yep. Same way when that was something good, when we were marching for voting rights, when we were doing those things, locking arm in arm, there was a soundtrack for that frame of mind, but there's also a soundtrack for the things that are hurting us in our community as well. And so even if just coming into a room and saying, but just think about it, not trying to make you not like what you love and as it relates to the type of music you listen to, but be conscious of it to say, maybe I can write a different kind of song. Maybe I can remove the violence. Maybe I can remove the misogyny from even just one song. Yeah. That may be the song that changes everything.
Definitely. I agree with you there because it's just so important, I feel. And I feel like more people, I feel like everyone should kind of get involved some way, somehow, just to, you could, like you said, you could help one person, you could help a million people, you could help, you don't know who it could touch.
That's right.
And that brings me to, you know, one of your previous singles, By Myself. Ooh. Because, man, I'm not going to lie. Like, By Myself, I think, especially in the entertainment industry, I tell people that, and I feel like if you're a musician, actor, what I do as a reporter, you know, anything in entertainment, you're usually by yourself. Maybe, probably 99.9% of your time, and people don't understand.
Right.
They just don't. Like, you could tell family, friend, your closest loved ones, and they get it, but they don't. Yeah. You know, sometimes you sound crazy and you're just, I'm going to shut up and I'll just talk to myself when I'm alone because, you know, I'm by myself and I understand what my goal is.
Yeah.
But how does it feel just having a song that resonates? I feel like just for myself, and like I was saying, the entertainment, it resonates, like, because I be telling people that all the time, like, don't think of it as you're going to have a whole team off the bat. It's not that easy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Listen, that song, I never wrote it thinking it would do for others what it did. I wrote it because it was my story.
Yeah.
It was me. It was saying, okay, screw it. I'm just going to do it anyway. And it does come from the pain of asking people close to you. Doesn't hurt when people you expect to dish you. It's when it's in your circle. It's when those people that are within your reach. don't quite get it, like you say. And it's not that they don't believe in you. You just can't see what you see or see their place in it. Because, maybe, just maybe, hey, I like you where you are. I can understand you better in this position. But when you start dreaming big, well, that changes things for everybody around you. And so when I wrote that song, I just felt that sort of rage of determination that says, I'm going to do it if I have to do it by myself. But it inspires so many people, and it still does. And like I say, even with you, and when people hear that song, everybody's felt rejection.
Yeah.
Everybody's felt like nobody can see what I see, but I should still move forward. So I'm just honored that came out of me. It was not intentional. Because who wants to be rejected? Who wants to even go through that?
Mm-hmm.
You want people to help.
Yes.
But at some point you realize you may have to go on anyway.
Yeah. And I just love that it means so many different things.
Yes.
To so many different, because someone across the world could take it a whole different way.
Mm-hmm.
Still meaningful, but just a different, something personal could be.
Right.
But I just relate with it because I'm like, dang, he spoke right to me, because I'd be by myself and I'd be thinking, dang, I'm by myself again. But you know what?
I'm going to go on.
I'm going to be okay. Exactly. I'm going to go on, and I understand it, and people will see the vision sooner or later.
Right.
That's what I always say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's another question. Entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast. It is probably one of the toughest and hardest industries. What's one thing you have learned just from seeing how it goes? Because everyone thinks, you get involved and you're just going to become successful and famous. And, people think, especially in today's world, in a month, they think, oh, I'm going to pop off, I'm going to be viral. No, once in a great while, maybe you do, but half of those are not for the right reason.
That's right. That's right. You're telling the truth.
So what have you learned from, like, something you could tell yourself back then that you know now?
Keep going.
Yeah.
I would tell me,
mm-hmm.
keep doing what you're doing. Because when you get where you're going, you'll realize the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And most of the times when you want to accomplish something, you don't want to go through what it takes to accomplish it. Right. And that's the worst for people in the entertainment industry, because they don't want, because of that creative spirit. Everybody feels they're the most talented. Everybody feels that they deserve to be successful. Yeah. And that is not the way it goes. There's so much more that goes into it. And even for those people you see that are successful, you don't know what they're going through behind that success to even sustain it, where they're high enough for you to see it. So it's just get on your path and stay on that journey and be open to learn, and don't try to figure it all out, because you can't. That's the sales. That's the sale. Oh, if I do it like this person, then I'll get their results. Lies.
The biggest lie of all.
Right? Just do what they do. No.
Yep.
And that's, for me, I am not trying to do it like anybody else. And so that's what gives me joy, that my lane is my lane. Mm-hmm. And it may take me 20 years to get to where I'm going, but wow, look at how much I've experienced thus far on my journey.
Yes.
But I've been with people who've made it on their path, maybe quicker, if you got to measure quick, but they may have fallen off quicker too.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
That's why I always tell people, everyone wants a blueprint. And I'm like, there is none. We each have our own blueprint, and
yes,
like you said, you can't duplicate it. It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
You got to go through the highs and the lows and everything in between.
Yep.
But I want to play, a little game.
Okay.
Like you said, I know you've written and arranged for some amazing artists. I just want to know, what is something that sticks out to you of each of these artists, either when you were working with them, just something about them.
Okay.
So for like Kelly Rowland, would you say, when you worked with her?
I didn't get a chance to work with her directly, but I will say that she took the demo I sent and took it to a whole nother level. Like, wow, it can sound that great.
I love that. Yeah. And how did that feel though? Like, because a demo, it's like yourself, and then hearing Kelly Rowland on it.
That's when you become a fan. That's when you realize I'm still a fan, because she's like, wow, this person is actually singing something I demoed. So yeah, that's still kind of the cool part of it all, is that you can't ever get too big to be in awe of somebody
Yes.
like that singing your music.
Definitely. How about Fantasia?
Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. Never got a chance to be in the studio with her, and that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She heard the demo, made it her own, and you're sitting back like, wow, she's singing my song. It sounds way better than the demo.
How about Joe?
Same thing. Now, interesting about Joe. Joe kept his performances as close to the demos as possible, which was very shocking and surprising to me because I'm thinking, like the other two, oh, he's going to just do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to meet Joe long after he had recorded my music, and he said, man, don't change a thing. Keep doing what you're doing. He said, because I didn't want to mess it up. He said, what you sent was so amazing, and what it made me feel, I didn't want to mess that up. And you're talking about a compliment because I'm a big fan of Joe. So him telling me that as an artist, as a young writer, don't change anything, do you? I wanted to honor your arrangement.
That's awesome just to know, like you said, years later, just that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And you don't think that, and you know, to hear that then, it's just like gratification.
It's that gratification that encourages you to keep doing what you're doing. Like he said, that was that affirmation that I needed as a young writer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But, you know, I know you're so experienced, but then, like you said, so new still to this, you know, because I feel like we can never stop learning.
Right.
And, you know, we all have our dreams of, you know, but who are your dream collabs? Doesn't have to be necessarily a feature on a song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could just be, you know, producing, you know, because I feel producing sometimes is better than an actual, you know, people singing on the track. The production's sometimes out of this world.
And I am a big fan of Pharrell Williams' work. I love the creative landscape of his body of work, like how his soundtrack recordings are. You know, I love all of the cartoons he's making music on, the animated films. You know, to me, that's the true sign of a genius, is when you can go into all these different arenas and make great music. So, you know, I would love, you know, even as a producer, a musician, a writer, or creative person, because sometimes I hear ideas in my head that I can't get out. And I'm like, but I bet if I was in the room with that guy, I could get him out. Right. You know, so that would be somebody I would say that would be a dream collaboration.
Yes, that Pharrell, man.
Yes.
He is, yeah. It's Pharrell.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get any, Since I was little, I was like, yo, he is a beast. Beast. But, you know, it's crazy that we're basically more than halfway through the year already. It's kind of crazy to believe 2024 will be here before we know it.
Yes.
But, you know, what else do you have planned? I know you have the album.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have like a date for the album? Or are you kind of just seeing how things go? Because I feel like in today's world, it's different, where before it was such hard dates on albums. You know, I remember every Tuesday we'll go to, you know, Best Buy. And you would go every Tuesday and go pick up your CD or your cassette. You know, I used to love them days. And now it's Fridays or just random days. It's so different.
Any day.
Any day. But what do you have coming up for the rest of the year and, you know, 2024 and beyond?
You nailed it, man. I keep giving myself a release date in my mind, but I'm also not rushing it either because it keeps evolving. And so right now I'm recording a lot of what I like to call documentary footage to go along with the project. And the concepts that I have are going to be beautiful. I'm like, okay, let's allow myself not to rush it.
Yes.
And that is new for me in my journey as an artist, is to not feel like I got to meet a Tuesday deadline or to have this self-imposed deadline. Your listening audience is different now. It's just a different world. If you get them engaged and buy into who you are and what you're doing, they'll roll along with you. And so that's the space I'm in now. Hoping mid-October, but it may evolve by the time they see this interview.
Hey, I don't blame you, because I feel take your time.
Yes.
I always feel like it's better in your mind. You know what I'm saying? I always feel that's the best way.
Yeah.
But, you know, Alvin, I want to thank you so much. You know, best of luck
Thank you.
on the single, the new
Yes.
project, everything else and more.
Yes.
And yeah, it's Nick Gallo, Gallo guy you know, here with Alvin Garrett.
The other guy you now know.
Thanks, guys.